Okay, I keep trying because when I listen to myself talk, I'm making all kinds of really bad errors. So let's do this one more time. I was talking about renewable energy, the whole solar mirror methanol creation, as well as it's almost like a compost. Basically, you're gonna build like a decker or like a giant tank that you submerge organic material. Then you alter the environment of that tank to foster anaerobic bacteria, or any methane-producing bacteria. That methane will float to the top, and then can be collected, compressed, and used. But I think the ethanol is a more viable option. I only say this because the renewable hydrocarbon thing, I don't know what the chemical process is. I don't know how efficient that is. I do know that the solar mirror ethanol production works. It is, if it works, it's super efficient. Why? Because you're not using any kind of energy. You're basically, the only energy you're using is growing the crops and putting it in the mash, and then adding yeast, and letting the biological process finish itself, and then distilling it using heat from the sun, which is free. Well, startup cost probably high, but which is free. As for the methane production, the amount of energy it takes to compress the gas into a transportable form probably be its downfall. Interestingly enough, the cool thing is the byproducts that come from both is organic material that can be used in farming, and I believe that is the point of renewable energy, is have it able to renew itself, and the mash from the methane after it's distilled, I mean, it's disinfected already. It's practically boiled mash, and it's probably be excellent organic or hydro mulch, and you can re-spread it over the crops and re-spread it over the land, and let the land rejuvenate itself, and then plant for the next crops. And the cool thing about that, you're growing anything that will produce ethanol. So crop rotation, it doesn't matter what you grow, as long as it has enough sugar content to create the wealth of ethanol. And then for more like cellulose-based plants, I think the methane production in the tank will probably be the option. But like I said, the compression of the methane gas to make it into a transportable form is probably going to be its downfall. Moving on to the ice dams in Canada and Siberia and places in the far northern regions where a lot of ice is collected, I wonder if that's stored energy, because when ice melts, it usually either percolates into the ground or starts to run off, and it forms rivers. It could be like the most dangerous, incredible thing that you can see. I mean, you see videos of Alaska, the glaciers melting and giant chunks of ice and snow sliding off during the defrost. It could be a dangerous time, but it's the force of nature, and can you harness that force of nature? And I guess you would probably have to look at a topography map to see where ice naturally accumulates and will naturally funnel into a certain area, and can you take that, can you basically dam up that area without causing too much ecological harm? I mean, there's going to have to be an ecological what's that called, impact report will have to be done before you do any kind of massive change of topography for human gain. But you're basically building another lake. That's practically what you're doing. A lake that renews itself every time it freezes over. And for the time that you are creating hydroelectric energy, because those areas are probably not very high populated, you're gonna probably produce a lot more energy than you're using. Well, the energy storage capacity of the large Tesla batteries that they're hauling around be a viable option to store and then transport. There is talk about like new age batteries that are not lithium. They're liquid batteries. I believe they're using hydrogen peroxide. I'm not pretty sure. I've only read bits and pieces of it, but they're very vague on the explanation. And the ones that are a little more detailed, I'm not too understand. But it's kind of like a lead acid battery, but using hydrogen peroxide. But what is cool about it? I don't know if this is a rechargeable battery. Whatever. Moving on. The ability to store energy is paramount. There's millions of ways to to create energy. Not millions, but I'm sure there's more than a few, and a lot of them we haven't really seen. The whole renewable hydrocarbon is totally new to me. The oldest video I found on YouTube is 6 years old. I didn't really look for the date of the document, but this is not a new technology. It's actually been around for a while. It's just never been brought up to the forefront. I find it super interesting. Ability to store and transport energy. And that's why I do like the solar ethanol production, because you're not using a lot of energy, but you're creating a form of energy that's able to be transported, whether it be pipeline or truck. Now, I always thought the hydro-oxygen through electrolysis, I think is an awesome way to harness the power of the ocean. And then you saw the video of basically the hydroelectric stingray, basically a dual impeller power plant that's submerged underwater. It's a submersible scoop. It's like a giant whale. They're filter feeders. They have this big mouth, and the water is funneled into that big mouth, and then turns the impellers and creates energy, and that energy can be transferred to shore. Or you can use the saline water to do hydro-oxygen. The hydrogen oxygen is compressed and then transferred up to shore or wherever it's going to be used. And the cool thing about that is the byproduct is fresh, usable water. Renewable energy is an amazing thing, and I'm intrigued by it. Well, anyway, I'm done ranting. I think that's the best rant I had so far. It makes more sense than anything else I've said so far. Today was wild. I didn't sleep much. Just irritated. Sometimes things are irritating. Anyway, whatever. Challenge out.